let's discuss double declining balance depreciation. I think we went over this in class, but we'll look at it one more time here, and I'll try to slow it down. We buy a tractor. It costs $90,000. It has a salvage of nothing, 0. So we're going to use it all up. It has a useful life of 20 years. And to get the depreciation, we divide 90,000 by 20 years and come up with 4,500 for each year's depreciation. So that means the first year depreciation expense is 4,500, I'm sorry. Second year, 4,500. Never changes. Now, what we're looking at is how much of a depreciation is that percent a year. So, actually that's like 1/20th, right? It's 1/20th of the whole period. So, what percent is that? Equal 1 divided by 20. And we find out it's 5%. Okay, that's good. The other way you can, instead of dividing the cost by 20 years, we could just multiply it times the 5%. Now, we sometimes will buy items and we want to depreciate them more in the early parts of its life. So let's take this very same Kubota and find out it's 90,000. Again, it doesn't have a residual, but if it did have a residual, you would not take it into consideration for double declining. So, I now have 90,000 with no residual times double declining percent. The double declining percent is double what the straight line percent is. So if I multiply that times 2, I'm going to come up with 10%, right? Makes sense to me. So instead of multiplying by the 5%, I now multiply by the 10%, and I come up with depreciation for the first year of $9,000. That's as hard as it gets there. Now, the one thing you have to remember is, since it's double declining, we need to, this is 0 here, but we need to deduct that previous year's depreciation for the next amount, or for the depreciation amount, which takes it to 81,000. And that's going to be multiplied by the 10%. And that comes to 8,100. Oops. So the second year's depreciation is 8,100. Now if we wanted to do the third year, it gets a little more interesting. We still have this 90,000. But now we're going to subtract all of the previous. I need another 0 on that. We've got 2 years of previous depreciation. So now I have 9,000 plus 8,100, which means I have 17,100 to deduct. Is that correct? 9, 10, yeah, that's right. So this, the basis, becomes equal 90,000 minus the 17,100. And I multiply that by 10%. And that means the third year's depreciation is 72,900. 7290. The following year, 90,000. This is 0. Now I have to add this 72 onto this 17,000. So that's going to equal this plus this. So I'm going to deduct that $24,000 from the $90,000. And you just proceed like this until you get down to what the salvage value would be. And you can't depreciate past the salvage. So it's not complicated, it's just different. So this would be 6561. And the main thing you have to remember is to keep deducting the previous year's depreciation. So I hope that helped. Email me with questions, okay? Have a good day.